one of the things that we haven't talked about, and I know we didn't get to you don't know me this well, but at age 30, I had a .com, and I put I had my house. I owned a percentage of some restaurants. Everything I owned, I dropped into this .com. We went about 2 years without a paycheck, so I accrued a lot of credit card debt. So I went, I remember like a very unique, kind of point in my life where I was 2 months after we had shut down the business. I was interviewed by the Indianapolis Monthly as a young and upcoming executive, and literally 2 months later, by the time the magazine went out, I was bartending for a living, and I went from a net worth on paper of $5.5 million to $50,000 in credit card debt, and I was playing so hard because I had watched all this funny money happen in the .com arena, and I played with both my red and my green money, right? I didn't put any compartmentalize, and that was a hard thing to recover from, and I mean it was like your identity change, I mean it took everything I could not to think of myself as a bartender and stay running, and I had to work probably almost for another decade just to get back to that next level. And I think a lot of people don't understand how close they are to that risk. They don't understand how stuff does happen, shit does happen, and they're playing a game because of with bad information. I mean, talk to me about.
A lot of time it's just ignorance. They just don't know the options available.
Right.
They don't know that there's an alternative.
Right.
And that's an incredible story you just shared with me. I mean, and I hear this on smaller scales a lot of times, on larger scales a lot of times, and unfortunately it's something that I hear all the time. It's not unique, and because of the lack of options that are advertised, let's say, and given to the general public as an alternative, it's almost like, well, you've got this or this. And so it's more of a choice. Do I go to Fidelity or Charles Schwab?
Right.
Or then, is there something else available that guarantees what I have? I can also grow it. And look, I'm not a doomsday prophet. I'm not the guy saying we're going to hit 5,000 before we hit 20,000. I'm not that guy.
Right.
What I do know is the market goes up and the market goes down. And you cannot afford to gamble with your retirement dollars. If you have money that needs to be there, you can't afford to gamble with it.
Right.
That's just the reality of it. I've had it happen to me personally, my mother. And so that's where the passion is derived from with me specifically.
So changing gears on you a little bit. So you've got this practice, and I know there's some limits on what we can talk about on the air, but how I would love for you to comment about like some of the bad advice that's being marketed on. I mean, like what are some of the books that people like myself can read or young people can read to increase their financial IQ, to understand how to protect themselves and their money, to kind of get through 101 to 201, and then beyond that, who is your ideal client? How does someone know when they're a good fit for you?
Well, first of all, it's never a bad investment to invest in education.
Right.
So wherever you find that education, wherever it may be, whatever book it is, I'm not going to sit here and pick out one book and say this is the holy grail of financial advice. There are so many people out there that have great ideas. Now, number one, you want to make sure that you're saving. So if you make $5, you want to save $2.50. That's period. You just want to save. It's very simple. We were all taught it when we grew up. And if you do that, you're going to be okay. The problem is most people, when they save, are planning on having it later, and they're not going out and buying diapers, or they're not going out and going out to dinner with their wife, or whatever it is, but they're putting it in a casino. So that's the thing that I'm most concerned with. In terms of an ideal client, for me, it's really anybody, because I can, and I don't say that to, market myself, but I'm saying it because anybody that knows that they want to protect a portion of their assets
Right.
is an ideal client for me. I work with people that are 30 years old. I work with people that are 80 years old. It depends on what you're trying to do. But the great thing about what I can do for people is I have access to 150 different companies that work with the same types of products.
Right.
And they can be molded and custom tailored to an individual's needs. So the
why
product that would
don't
work best for you.
why don't more people know about these tools that are out there, like these different products? Are the not incentivized, or the planners not incentivized as much as they are in other
That's
things?
correct. So the way most brokers get paid is they get paid commission for making trades,
Right.
and they're fee based, so they get paid fees for actively mitigating risk, or so they say, right?
Right.
And I'm not here to throw financial planners under the bus. I think they're doing the best they can with what they have,
Right.
but they're trying to make something that's inherently volatile and unsafe safe. And so if you're dealing with grandma's life savings, I'm sorry, but you shouldn't be in a mixture of BlackRock and mutual funds and whatever it is, and then a variable annuity over here. And I get what they're trying to do, but it's just not the correct instrument to utilize.
Right.
And it's not incentivized. That's exactly right. I mean, and I have to make a living too, but I make my money from the companies that I work with, and because I work with such a broad spectrum, there's no favoritism there.
Right.
I'm also building a practice, and I'm a younger man, so it's something whereupon I'm in a long term,
Right.
And really, number one, it's illegal for me to take a fee from a client.
Right.
So, but I feel like I work harder than half the guys who make fees, because I'm trying to do what is best for every client, because I understand what can happen. Like, I didn't grow up poor, I did not grow up rich. We were okay, and things changed very quickly.
Right.
And I put myself through school, and I had to, and that's pretty rare for my generation.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was something that,
Well, I think
devastating.
I think what is important for people to hear, and what you said, and I want to kind of make sure people understand this. A lot of people don't understand how the market works. They don't understand that the brokers get paid to move money around,
Exactly.
And so you have to understand how people are incentivized when they're advising you, and I know I've gone from a fee-based advisor to and to doing a lot of it on my own to pretty much getting to the point where I was like, I want to be out of the market totally. I got a couple rentals, and I think that's been good, and we're looking at a couple other things. But I think what I did 10 years ago, and what I think that what was interesting about what I didn't hear and understand, and one of the reasons I wanted to have it on the show was some of the products that you represent I never heard of. And I feel like I took it upon myself to kind of educate myself when I went through that big downturn. And one of the best books I ever read was the quote was, "Buy assets that appreciate and kick off cash flow." I was like, well, I mean, why didn't my financial planner teach me that? You know what I mean? And I think that's what you bring to this, is like you're helping people find simple answers, and then protecting their best interest by getting them to think about this game in a way that they're going to make their money last for the long haul. Is that?
Look, that's absolutely right. And look, I originally started. I went to college to help people. That was my goal. Now, I didn't know what I was going to study, but I wanted to help people. And it came from my own experiences with, I'm an only child with my mother, and I knew whatever I did in this world, I wanted to do something that was good. I love my job because I have folks that, quite frankly, I have clients in, Texas, Wyoming, Colorado, Washington, California here, and they call me, the market dropped 600 points. They say, Casey, thank you. And then it's a wonderful feeling. It's something that I can't even explain it. It's a beautiful thing to be able to say to somebody, look, this is not only are you safe, but here's a roadmap to exactly what is going to happen. See, you talk to a fee-based advisor or somebody who works with risk investments, and they're going to say, well, here's a prospectus. It's about 500 pages long, and this is exactly what we think might happen.
Yeah.
And it's going to be based on 30 years of historical analysis, and maybe this will happen, maybe it won't. I get to show people facts, figures. This is exactly what will happen based on an agreement. It's a beautiful thing.
Yep.
I love it.
Yeah.
So,
Hey,
I mean, can't ask for much more than that.
Casey, you've been zipped.
Appreciate you.
Thanks.